Hello and welcome to Clearview News. We are reaching you live from Nigeria's capital city, Abuja. In the news, Nigerian journalists demand safety of practitioners as they join others to mark World Press Freedom Day. Acting Inspector General of Police moves to strengthen response to crisis rocking the nation, redeploys Kaduna State Commission of Police and others. And one dead as violent clashes continue in the Venezuelan capital, Caracas. I am Nten Ekman with details of these and other stories. Nigeria has joined the rest of the world to mark this year's World Press Freedom Day, which is usually commemorated on May 3. To commemorate the day, the Nigerian Union of Journalists (NUJ) has called for safety of all practitioners across the nation in accordance with national legislation and international agreements. Our correspondent Uju Onyemechalo tells us more.
The theme of this year's Press Freedom Celebration is Media for Democracy, Journalism and Elections in Times of Disinformation. It focuses on illuminating current challenges faced by the media in elections, celebrating the fundamental principles of press freedom throughout the world, defending the media from attacks on their independence, and paying tribute to journalists who have lost their lives in the line of duty. Speaking at the event, the President, Nigerian Union of Journalists, Christopher Isiguzo, says World Press Freedom Day serves as a reminder to media experts on the essence of preserving a vibrant and viral journalism in the face of increasing challenges.
World Press Freedom Day serves as a platform to remind us the essence of preserving vibrant and viral journalism at a time when the profession is facing increasing challenge. It also serves as an opportunity to call upon each and every pluralist or pluralistic and independent media for global access to information and preserving freedom of the press in any society. The theme for this year's celebration is clearly apt in view of the very negative impact of fake news in our climate. Fake news fuels religious crisis, ethnic crisis, cultural crisis, and of course journalists owe it a duty not to be identified with this monstrous phenomenon. This is therefore an opportunity for us to stand out and be counted by not encouraging social media actors who fuel the spread of fake news with the sole intent of destroying the very fabric that holds us together as a people.
The police force PRO Frank Mba, who spoke on role of media in promoting democracy, says the Nigerian media plays a critical role in policing the nation's democracy, particularly electoral processes, by using its power to hold policymakers accountable.
In the recently concluded general elections, I remember clearly how the media did not only help in reporting the campaign processes and the entire electoral processes, but actually they played very critical roles in monitoring the electoral process. This is one area where our roles and the roles of the media converge. The difference is that while we policed the electoral processes using the coercive powers of the state, the media actually policed the electoral processes using its power to call policymakers accountable. The media, in this regard, not only promoted the processes of accountability and transparency, they also help in calling policymakers to order when they appear to be going out of the rules, including the leadership of the Nigerian police.
The World Press Freedom Day is celebrated on May 3 each year. The day was proclaimed by the UN General Assembly in 1993 as recommended by the UNESCO. Uju Onyemechalo reporting for Clearview Television.
Rivers State government on Wednesday announced a lift in the ban on promotions in the state civil service. Governor Nyesom Wike stated this during the 2019 International Workers' Day celebration at the Yakubu Gowon Stadium, Elekaya in Port Harcourt. Represented by his deputy, Ekpali Bohari Banigo, Governor Wike informed workers in the state that the chairman of the State Civil Service Commission had already been directed to conduct interviews and effect the promotion of civil servants to their next salary grades. Also, Governor Wike said approval had been given for the recruitment of Rivers indigents to fill the existing vacancies as part of efforts to strengthen the civil service for effective service delivery to the people. Wike said government under his watch remains committed to tackling social issues by creating an enabling environment for the private sector to create jobs and empower youth in the state. He also disclosed that the government has started implementing the 100 million naira interest-free loans to civil servants in the state in a bid to advance their welfare and well-being. Governor Wike promised to pay the new minimum wage as soon as he receives the official transmission from the federal government, while noting that the pension reform bill before the State House of Assembly, when passed into law, will bring into existence a seamless and positive scheme for workers in the state. Describing his administration as worker-friendly, Wike said despite financial challenges, his government was up to date in the payment of full salaries and pensions to working and retired civil servants. He stressed that his promise to construct befitting secretariats for the state chapters of the Nigerian Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress have been fulfilled and will soon be handed over. The celebration of this year's Workers' Day took a dramatic turn in Abia State on Wednesday as a group of pensioners under the aegis of Nigerian Union of Pensioners (NUP) wept openly, demanding the payment of 26-month pension arrears owed by the state government. The senior citizens came to Ibeku High School, Umuahia, venue of this year's Workers' Day anniversary, all dressed in black attire, as they lamented in pity over the non-payment of their gratuities and several months of pension arrears. However, trouble started when the head of service, Mr. Onyi Nwama, who represented Governor Okezie Ikpeazu, mounted the podium for the commencement of the march past as workers were already gearing up for the purpose. No sooner had he mounted the dial than the placard-carrying pensioners invaded the arena to protest what they described as our sufferings since we retired from the civil service, gesturing signs that conjured hunger and suffering as they lay on the field, and apparently embarrassed HUS and other government officials pleaded with them to vacate the arena for the ceremony to continue. However, after some minutes of protest, the pensioners went back to their seats where they addressed newsmen, informing them that they had been incapacitated by the non-payment of their gratuities, particularly the pension, since retirement. Meanwhile, Governor Okezie Ikpeazu, in his message, said he was not unaware of the challenges of non-payment of pensions and gratuities, saying that the government was working out a modality that would ensure prompt payment of pensions and gratuities to the workers. Governor-elect of Oyo State, Seyi Makinde, has said that the state governments in Nigeria ought to have been allowed to negotiate new minimum wage for their workers, arguing that living conditions vary from state to state. Makinde said this while speaking to State House correspondents after attending the induction program for newly elected and returning governors organized by the Nigerian Governors Forum at the Presidential Villa in Abuja. He said that he intends to negotiate with the state branch of the Nigerian Labour Congress (NLC) because Oyo cannot pay the new national minimum wage of 30,000 naira just signed into law by President Muhammadu Buhari. Makinde said the federal government should not impose a national minimum wage of states since Nigeria is a federation. According to him, it is for the same reason that the call for the restructuring of the country had become stringent. The governor-elect disclosed that his administration will engage the Nigerian Labour Congress in the state and see how both parties will go from there. The proposed National Interfaith Prayer Commission of Nigeria, NIPCON, has called on Christians and Muslim leaders to take the preaching of peace mandatory in their gatherings. NIPCON made the call at a 1 million man march in Abuja. Our correspondent Ifeoluwa Ishola was there and now reports.
The proposed National Interfaith Prayer of Nigeria, NIPCON, is an organization that envisions an inclusive society free from violent ethno-religious conflict. Speaking at the event, the Vice President Yemi Osibanjo, who was represented by the Chief Administrator of Aso Villa Chapel, Isaac Habiam, listed some of the causes of conflict and enjoined practitioners of both faith to accommodate the views of each faith to ensure peaceful coexistence.
About the issues of peace in this country. Some of the few issues that are actually dividing us in this nation are our religious affiliations. Secondly, our ethnic, affiliations. And thirdly, our political affiliations. But it gladdens the heart of the Vice President that Christians and Muslims will agree to sit together and pray together concerning the peace, harmony, and prosperity of this nation. And he said he believed all your prayers has already been answered.
The convener of NIPCON, Archbishop Leonard Bature, also elucidated on the vision and intention of the National Interfaith Prayer of Nigeria.
We, the members of the proposed NIPCON, that is National Interfaith Prayer Commission of Nigeria, NIPCON, we intend to continue to organize rallies all across the country, beginning with zonal rallies, then state rallies, from where even it will trickle down to area councils, local governments. We want to also believe that after today, we commence action on the proposed NIPCON bill so that it will be passed by the National Assembly, and then so that the office will be formally established both at the national, state, and local government areas. And then we begin the Operation Catch Them Young project of NIPCON, which is to take this interfaith exercise even to nursery, primary, secondary, universities, so that our students, our children, will begin to imbibe the doctrine of tolerance, religious tolerance, peaceful coexistence, religious harmony, right from babyhood, from childhood, so that when they grow up, they will not see a Christian, a Muslim will not see a Christian as an enemy, a Christian will not see a Muslim as an enemy.
So speaking, the senior special advisor to the President on political matters, Gideon Samani, said the gathering was an imperative notion for nation building, as it will help to bridge ethno-religious gaps in the country.
And we are here again to pray to God for the incoming tenure, so that we pray for our leaders again, Mr. President, the Vice President, and we pray to God to help them to select men that have similar virtues like them, men of honor, men that are honest, men of integrity, men of transparency, reliable people, dependable people, and above all, God-fearing people. These are the team that we are praying, that the Vice President, the President will select, so that they work together in implementing their agenda, political agenda, that will take this country to the next level.
Christians and Muslims, NIPCON believes both have a shared responsibility of ensuring that both religions contribute to the unity of the country. Ifeoluwa Ishola, reporting for Clearview Television.
The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has said that a total of 17% of medicines in circulation in the country are fake. A previous report claimed the amount was 70%. Speaking during a press conference in Lagos, the Director General of the agency, Professor Mojisola Adeyeye, said NAFDAC is working assiduously to reduce the figure to 0%. The NAFDAC boss explained that local manufacturing of drugs will not only ensure drug security, but reduce unemployment as well as increase contribution of the pharmaceutical industry to the nation's GDP. Adeyeye said that a study jointly carried out by NAFDAC, the World Health Organization, and the Department for International Development (DFID) in 2005 revealed that fake medicines stood at 16%. She added that a survey conducted by NAFDAC in 2017 and 18 on some widely used drugs showed that Nigerian medicines were 98% wholesome. On the update of recalled confiscated codeine containing cough syrup, Adeyeye disclosed that plans are underway to pay over 1 billion naira as compensation to the companies that had their codeine impounded as they produced them legally. She also disclosed that about 2.5 million codeine containing cough syrups was recalled across the country and that their compensation are being finalized. You're watching Clearview News. We'll take a short break, and when we come back, there'll be more stories. Stay with us.
This is how to view 24-hour Clearview TV. Get any free-to-air decoder and tell your installer you want the dish tracked to Niconsat 42.5 degrees east. On Niconsat platform, tune to Clearview TV. It's as simple as that. For online viewing, just click www.clearviewtv.com.ng. Then press the button play and wait. You can also like us on Facebook, Clearview TV Online. Our advert hotline is 0808 668 4647.
Welcome back, and for more stories now. On Saturday, November 2nd this year, the people of Kogi will be going to the polls to elect a chief executive that will run the affairs of that state for the next 4 years. As expected, the state governor Yahaya Bello has been under heat in defending why he should be allowed a second term. In a chat with journalists, Bello cleared the air on crisis in the state chapter of the All Progressives Congress, the APC, and the allegation of financial misappropriation leveled against him.
Take three, no problem.
Yeah.
But at once, then I'll respond. Yeah.
Gentlemen, are we set? Yeah, we're set. So we are starting with the induction.
We thank God. You know, at any point in time, our forum and the current administration is always very proactive because we want to deliver on the promises that was made to the people. So the outgoing and the incoming governors need to be inducted so that we know the challenges ahead. And it's a very wonderful one, and really appreciate the Nigerian Governors Forum and the federal government of Nigeria for this wonderful induction course. Thank you.
A lot of crises, APC elders you have said are saying you don't deserve second term, that you cannot perform, you have eaten over 300 billion naira and nothing to show. What do you tell them?
Well, I think all I can say about my state is that APC is not in crisis in Kogi State. The elders, the real elders and the real stakeholders, the youths and the women, and people of integrity knows that Kogi State APC is intact. And that was why we were able to deliver Kogi State to Mr. President. We were able to deliver 2 out of 3 senatorial districts to our party. We were able to deliver 7 out of 9 House of Representatives to our party. And for the first time ever in the history of politics in Kogi State, we were able to deliver 100%, that is 25, all over 25 House of Assembly members in Kogi State. If there's crisis, there's no how we could have achieved this. And when we talk of financial misappropriation, from all our finances, starting from bailout funds to Paris Club refunds, we so much published all our finances to the extent that bank statements were published in the dailies. And I want to believe you have your facts to yourself. And out of the little resources that we're getting, that we're generating as well, we're able to achieve a lot of infrastructural development for our state. security infrastructure, and several others. This is what was not earned or was not done to the state in the past 20 years of Kogi State existence before I came on board. But under 3 years, we were able to achieve all these successes. Probably we're using stone or sand to do all this. It is the management, the prudent management of resources, and the good hands that were able to recruit in my cabinet and in government in Kogi State that were able to achieve this success. So those that are making certain passes, it's a strategy. One, is either that they want me to perform more, or they are simply living in oblivion. They don't know anything that is happening in Kogi State, and they cannot participate in Kogi State politics as it stands today. Because we're doing politics of inclusiveness, not exclusiveness, the way it was done in the past. So I want to assure you that Kogi State APC is intact. I remain a bona fide member of APC. And in fact, as a matter of fact, I rebuilt the party from the scratch to what it is today, and I were able to achieve this feat. So those that are making certain passes of me leaving the party, I think that is their wish. And by the grace of God, their wish will never be.
Your Excellency, I read a statement credited to the Ohinoyi of Iberia land this morning, that even though he supported you, he's finding it hard selling your candidature to Iberia people. It's worrying. Don't you think there's a cause for concern if the traditional ruler says such a thing about you?
First of all, the traditional ruler Ohinoyi of Iberia land is my father. I am his son. And in our tradition, there are certain age that you attain, and the right thing is what is expected of you. First of all, I don't believe that my Ohinoyi of Iberia land would make such utterances or make such statements, because he knows that upon the assumption of office, the real value for the traditional institution, I restored it. That is number one. You know what security situation is to be in Kogi State and Iberia land. And today, we're having a different story. We know that in the past, appointment and employment used to be lopsided in Kogi State. If I decide to balance it, that's not a crime. The citizens of Kogi State rewarded us in the last general elections. And I know surely that the good people of Kogi State, including Ohinoyi of Iberia land, is my greatest supporter, and he will continue to support me greatly. I don't think he should be misquoted by the press or by anybody. The Ohinoyi of Iberia land is a revered person. We hold him in a very high esteem. He continued to be my father, and he continued to be my great supporter. And by the grace of God, he is urging me to return back and also to do more than what I have done in this first term. And I promise Ohinoyi of Iberia land that you will never be disappointed in my performance by the grace of God.
Yaya Bello of Kogi State, they're addressing the press. And moving on now, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, says electoral offenders in the country should be made to face the wrath of the law. Chairman of INEC, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, stated this at a stakeholders forum on the future of elections in Nigeria, organized by a coalition of civil society organizations in Nigeria. Aniete Patrick has that report.
Presented by Festus Okoye, INEC's National Commissioner and Chairman, Information and Voter Education Committee, Mahmoud Yakubu, says it is time for Nigeria to take a decisive position to break the circle of impunity bedeviling the country's electoral process by establishing an Electoral Offences Commission and Tribunal.
Time to take decisive action to break the cycle of impunity through the promulgation of an Electoral Offences Commission and Tribunal to handle matters relating to electoral offences. The Commission has made it clear that it lacks the capacity and wherewithal to continue the prosecution of electoral offenders, and it is for this reason that the Commission supports and will continue to support the creation of an Electoral Offences Commission / Tribunal to process, arrest, investigate, and prosecute electoral offenders.
Okoye stated that although INEC lacks capacity to prosecute electoral offenders, it is in full support of this establishment of Electoral Offences Commission to punish offenders, and will continue to support the process to arrest, investigate, and prosecute those who try to undermine the cardinal democratic principles of representation, accountability, and participation.
We will continue to partner with and collaborate with all civil society groups and organizations and with all the critical stakeholders in the electoral process
towards deepening and advancing the democratic process in Nigeria.
Meanwhile, a member of the civil society, Jude Ilo, said irregularities that characterized the 2019 elections should not be left unquestioned and people made to take responsibility for failures that were blatant and unacceptable.
There are a number of exciting documentation already existing on how we can make our elections and our democracy better, one of which is the waste report. I think we need to go look at it again and take it up and see to what extent we can address the culture, not the symptoms, the culture that has made it possible for our politicians to be rewarded for doing the wrong thing.
INEC said it is not going back on its promise and determination to improve on the progress made by the Commission and will continue to support and collaborate with stakeholders to ensure Nigerians get the elections they deserve. Anita Patrick, reporting for Clearview Television.
Armed men on Wednesday abducted Alhaji Musa Umar, the district head of Daura, the hometown of President Muhammadu Buhari, in Katsina State. The kidnappers invaded Umar Daura's residence at 7 p.m. and shot sporadically into the air, forcing bystanders to scamper for safety. Umar, a retired customs controller who once contested for the emir of Daura's stool, had just returned from the mosque where he took part in the evening prayers when the incident occurred. A family source said the kidnappers called Umar on his phone line and told the district head that there were Ramadan gifts to him from the president before they came for him. According to the source, Umar was expecting the message from the president, not knowing it was a ploy by kidnappers to get him. The acting Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, has ordered the immediate redeployment of Commissioners of Police in charge of Kaduna State, Mr. Ahmed Abdulrahman, to the Force Intelligence Bureau in Abuja. A statement by the Force spokesman Frank Mba on Wednesday in Abuja said Mr. Aji Janga will take over as the Commissioner in Kaduna. Janga was until now the Commissioner of Police in charge of Bauchi State Command. Mba said that other commissioners affected by the exercise are Habu Amadu, former commissioner in charge of intelligence, who is now posted to Bauchi Command, and Omololu Bishi, redeployed from the Benue Command to the Central Criminal Registry CR, Alagbon, Lagos. Mokadas Garba moves from the office of the National Security Advisor to Benue Command, while the erstwhile commissioner in charge of CCR, Alagbon, Lagos, has now been moved to the Force Headquarters, Abuja, to be in charge of armament. The spokesman said that the exercise was aimed at rejigging the fight against armed banditry, kidnapping and other security crimes across the nation, particularly in Kaduna and other contiguous states. Is there a link between security votes and insecurity in the country? Well, this is one of the million questions the acting chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the EFCC, Ibrahim Magu, tried to address when he interacted with returning and newly elected state governors. The occasion was the induction program organized by the Nigerian Governors Forum Secretariat for the returning and incoming governors. Magu, who was direct, told the governors that some chief executives of states now covertly promote insecurity as justification to inflate their security votes. Though he did not go into the debate on the constitutionality of security votes, he, however, warned the governors to be transparent in the expenditure of public funds. The EFCC chairman, who presented a paper tagged Imperative of Fighting Corruption, Terrorism Financing in Nigeria, said the Commission has also seen evidence of theft of public resources by some state governors, cashing in on the insecurity in their states. According to the anti-graft boss, insecurity has also offered the required oxygen for corruption to thrive, as evident in the $2.1 billion arms procurement involving top military commanders, both serving and retired. He further stressed that corruption can also not be divorced from the festering insurgency in the Northeast, explaining that the nexus between corruption and terrorism is that corruption promotes insecurity. There are indications that foreign investors are showing more interest in Nigeria as the country recorded $91 billion investment announcements in first quarter of 2019. Data from the Nigerian Investment Promotion Commission (NIPC) show increased investors' interest in Nigeria, largely due to heightened investment promotion at the federal level. NIPC started tracking investment announcements for Nigeria in 2017 to serve as the basis for understanding investors' interest in the country. In 2019, the Commission tracked a total of $90.90 billion worth of investment announcements, up by 37% from the value tracked in 2017. Also, data sourced from the National Bureau of Statistics (NBS) show that Nigeria recorded 23.44 trillion naira, that's about $64.55 billion worth of investment from abroad in the last 5 years. Nigeria recorded a slump in capital inflows since 2014, when the country recorded 7.51 trillion naira, that's about $20.75 billion, being highest value of capital importation in the last 5 years. 2015 presidential election rattled foreign investors, leading to a 4.04 trillion naira drop in capital inflow from the 23.44 trillion naira attracted in 2014 to 3.50 trillion in 2015. However, investment inflows are on the rise again, as the country recorded a total of 4.44 trillion, that's about $12.22 billion in 2017, and 6.11 trillion, that's about $16.81 billion in 2018. At a recent media parley, the Executive Secretary of NIPC, Yewande Sadiku, said there was heightened investors' interest in Nigeria because the Commission transited from a reactive model of investment promotion to a proactive one. As part of its transformative agenda for food security, income enhancement, job creation, and improving the livelihoods of smallholder farmers in Africa, the Agriculture Fast Track Fund (AFT), hosted by the African Development Bank, has announced a $3.39 million funding for 17 new small and medium-scale enterprises (SMEs) in the agriculture sector. The funding provided by the African Development Bank was announced in Accra, Ghana recently in support of SMEs in the agribusiness sector in 8 African countries. The countries are Ghana with 4 SMEs, Tanzania with 4, Burkina Faso 2, Malawi 2, Mozambique 2, Ethiopia 1, Nigeria 1, and Senegal 1. Will Ofori's firm, the Techiman Processing Complex Limited, received a grant of $160,000 for feasibility studies, marketing, as well as value chain and value addition studies. Addressing newsmen, AFT coordinator Jonas Chiano said the fund provided grants that enabled SMEs to conduct project preparation studies to eliminate barriers to take off and develop a pipeline of bankable projects. The fund finances the project development cost of a broad range of agriculture infrastructure spanning the entire value chain from production to the market. Target projects range from rural feeder roads to irrigation, agro-processing and marketing facilities, and outgrower schemes. The AFDB's country manager for Ghana, Yorubalde, noted that the development of agriculture and agribusiness lies in the heart of the bank's priorities in Africa. Single women in Nigeria are worried over what they considered as a gradual erosion of their status in the society. They are therefore moving to restore their rightful status, courtesy of a forum called Beauty and Brains. Clearview TV's Chinedum Batuego has that report.
Beauty and Brains, a forum set aside to reach out to single ladies of all categories around the globe. The forum was established by Bolu Olutayo, wife of the senior pastor of Good Tidings Bible Church International. The event featured a musical concert, talk shows, among others. At the event, the convener of the program, Bolu Olutayo, admonished single ladies to be advocates of self-dignity.
For you to lend credence to your beauty, then you have got to be beautiful in your conduct, in your character, in how you speak.
In an exclusive interview with Clearview TV, Bolu speaks on the inspiration behind the forum.
Beauty and Brains was inspired from my passion and my observation and a go-ahead from God to do something about a problem I saw in order to solve it. Beauty and Brains is a forum for God's mature single daughters of all categories, whether they've never married before, or they are single mothers, or they are divorced, widowed, separated, complicatedly single, whatever category of that's a woman who doesn't have a husband.
The guest speaker at the event, Buki Jaisimi, a motivational speaker, charged single ladies to know who they really are and always strive to get the best out of themselves through earnest hard work.
Know your original. How much of yourself do you know? I'm 50 years, but how much of yourself do you know? Especially if you spent the past 50 years trying to be somebody else. Please, it's very good to look up to people, but you must work on your best self. If you can't get the best out of yourself, looking up to others is not useful. Because that's not you, after all. Be positive to have an attractive personality, character, whatever you call it, you must be positive.
In an exclusive chat with Clearview, the guest speaker of the forum, Buki Jaisimi, emphasized the need for self-improvement for one to be able to triumph over certain hurdles and trials of life.
Yeah, I did say in there, I said it's good to say no. You can actually say no to some circumstances and situations. It doesn't have to all be yes, yes, yes. And I said as well that you must improve yourself. There must be something new that is evolving per time. You can't run the race of 2019 with weapons you acquired in 1977. You must run the machine of the new age.
You develop your signature when you discover who you are.
Chinedu Mbatwegu, reporting for Clearview Television.
Still ahead, clashes in Venezuela leaves one dead. Details of that and more when we come back after this break.
Indeed, things are happening, no? Yes, now. It's only that, too. Hey, Omar Bashir of Sudan has even resigned, and even Bouteflika of Algeria. Yes. Edo State. Yes, now, even the state government is ready to hold the 2020 National Sports Festival. Oh, okay. Alright, no wahala now. Bye. Why are you clapping?
Why are you getting all this news for? Algeria, Sudan, even Edo State.
Decoder, of course.
The decoder?
Yes.
I stopped a long time ago.
Why?
High cost. I was paying 7,000 naira a month. It went up to 9,000 naira. And even the other one was paying 2,000 naira. It's now 4,000 naira.
Really?
And what still? Whether you watch or not, your money is gone, and they even increase the rate every month.
Wait, is it Night Concert that is doing all of this?
Night Concert? Which one is Night Concert?
Night Concert, that is what I use, that is what I embrace.
Night Company.
Sit down, let me explain to you. Now, Night Concert is the secret of cheap viewing. All you have to do, just get your decoder, any free-to-air decoder at all, Strongo, Visato, PowerSato, and tell the installer to track it to Night Concert for you.
Wait. Is that not where Clearview TV is?
Now you are talking now.
So you get all your latest news from there?
Wait, it's only that oh. Entertainment oh, Hausa programs oh, sports oh, even news from the villa and plenty other things.
No. I'll be back.
When are you going to?
To get my decoder, of course.
Do you know the pleasant news? Night Concert, now we're on. Now we get them.
We get them. How do you mean?
Do you know you can watch Night Concert in over 38 countries in this world, and it's owned by the Nigerian government?
The Nigerian government?
Yes.
And I've been burning my money on that company from Southeast Africa or Northeast Africa or somewhere.
And the news is spreading like wildfire. It's switchover time for these all in one phenomenon. Number one, now we owe now. I mean, it's Nigeria Communication Satellite, Night Concert. 2, it is viewed in about 38 countries. And 3, no subscription. Just buy the free-to-air decoder. I repeat, you don't pay subscription. Enough of the ripoff. Be part of this and you have access to Clearview Television 24 hours, 7 days.
Welcome back. And on the foreign scene, clashes between opposition supporters and pro-government forces in the Venezuelan capital of Caracas on Wednesday have left a woman dead and dozens others injured. The woman was reportedly shot. Tear gas and water cannons were fired by the military amid rival demonstrations. Opposition leader Juan Guaido has called for those responsible for the death of a 27-year-old woman to be found. Guaido, who called for a series of strikes to force President Nicolas Maduro to relinquish power, has equally urged public employees to act this Thursday, saying the stoppages will lead to a general strike. In this report, we bring you an update on the political crisis in Venezuela.
Defender la libertad. ¡Fuera la tiranía! ¡Abajo la tiranía! ¡Abajo la tiranía! ¡Fuerte! ¡Abajo la tiranía! ¡Salgamos a la calle!
Que planteó el régimen con grupos reducidos.
Señores del gobierno de Estados Unidos, el pequeño grupo que pretendió llenar, eso es lo que llaman...
De este golpe de engaño, es un verdadero golpe de engaño, una escaramuza golpista avanzada absolutamente en la simulación, el engaño y la mentira. Y por eso se quedaron solos. El 80% del personal militar y policial ya al mediodía los había abandonado.
Hoy con Nicolás defendiendo la patria y diciéndole al mundo que Venezuela es libre, soberana y absolutamente independiente y no se va a doblegar frente a las pretensiones del imperialismo norteamericano y sus lacayos operadores.
Dirige este mensaje a su presidente encargado Juan Guaidó, legítimo comandante en jefe de las Fuerzas Armadas. Tuvimos claro que lo que decía el régimen, que tenía control de las Fuerzas Armadas, es una farsa.
And away from Venezuela, thousands of people are being evacuated from villages along India's eastern coastline ahead of a severe cyclone. Cyclone Fani is heading towards the state of Orissa with wind speeds in excess of 200 kilometers per hour and is expected to make landfall on Friday. Officials have now shut down operations at two major ports on the east coast, and thousands of rescuers are helping people evacuate from low-lying areas. Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu states are also on high alert. Officials said around 800,000 people are in the process of being evacuated. Nearly 100,000 of them will be evacuated from Puri, a city in Orissa, as authorities believe that this is where the storm will hit hardest. Puri is also home to 858-year-old Jagannath Temple, with officials worried about the impact it could have on the historic building. Consequently, all schools and universities in the state have been shut. Cyclone Fani will be the fourth storm to hit India's coast in the last 3 decades. In 2017, Cyclone Oki killed more than 200 people and displaced hundreds. In October of last year, officials in Orissa evacuated hundreds of thousands of people when another cyclone struck. The cyclone is currently moving up the Bay of Bengal, east of Andhra Pradesh. Director of Meteorological Center in Orissa's state capital, Biswa said at least 11 districts will be hit and that they have suggested people stay indoors. India's National Disaster Management Authority has also warned people along the rest of India's east coast, especially fishermen, not to go out to sea because the conditions are phenomenal. U.S. Attorney General William Barr has refused to testify to the Democratic-led House Judiciary Committee on his handling of the Russia inquiry. Barr had previously objected to a plan for lawyers to ask questions at Thursday's hearing. Committee Chairman Gerald Nadler accused the White House of a complete stonewalling of Congress. The stand-up raises the prospect that Barr, America's top legal official, could be held in contempt of Congress. The Justice Department also said that it will not comply with a subpoena issued by Nadler asking for an unredacted version of Mueller's report as well as files from the investigation. Gavin Williamson has strenuously denied he leaked information from the National Security Council as calls are being made for a police inquiry. He was sacked as Defense Secretary for allegedly disclosing plans to allow Chinese telecoms giant Huawei to help build the UK's 5G network. Opposition MP said there should be an investigation into whether the Official Secret Act had been breached. Downing Street said it had compelling evidence and the matter was closed. Williamson is quoted on Thursday as saying he was a victim of a vendetta and a kangaroo court. The inquiry into the leak began after the Daily Telegraph reported on the Council's confidential discussions, including warnings from several cabinet members about possible risks to national security of a deal with Huawei. And when we come back after this break, it's going to be time for sports. Please stay with us.
Hello and welcome to the sporting segment of Clearview TV News. I'm Ogutimehin Tolulope Ogutimehin. Top bosses of Nigeria Football Federation who are being investigated for corruption have reached out to traditional rulers and other powerful Nigerians to prevail on the country's anti-graft agency to stop the probe. Reports say that the chairman of Special Presidential Investigative Panel, Obonobla, has insisted on carrying on with investigation the NFF with the engagement concerning the NFF, even after several eminent personalities like traditional rulers, former governors, and ministers reached out to him to drop the case. The NFF chiefs have also instituted a court case against him in another desperate bid to frustrate the corruption investigation. However, Obla has been resolute that justice must be done and also seen to be done. It was further gathered that the drama, which involved NFF defense lawyer Festus Upe in Tuesday's hearing of a case of alleged theft of $9.5 million FIFA grant, was simply to put the top football officials more time to step up their plans to achieve a political solution to this matter. The lawyer claimed before High Court Judge Peter Afen that the same case against NFF bosses by EFCC was also before another court by SPIP. EFCC lawyer Steve Odiase argued he was not aware of the same case before another court. The defense counsel will now have to prove this to be true when the court sits on May 30. IFK Gothenburg have turned down a proposal by the Flying Eagles for midfielder Halassan Yusuf to shuttle between the Under-20 World Cup in Poland and Swedish club. Reports say IFK Gothenburg have already told the Nigeria Football Federation they will not release the former SC Heart star because they are battling an injury crisis, and Yusuf is very much part of their first team plans this season. The IFK Gothenburg sports director, Kenneth Anderson, said after discussion with both the coaches and medical team, it was not possible for the player to shuttle between the World Cup and his club. He again restated the position of IFK Gothenburg as regards the release of Halassan Yusuf, maintaining it was the decision of the club. Yusuf, 18, has enjoyed a stormy start to the new season. He was man of the match in his first start against Helsingborg. He then helped IFK Gothenburg to hold host Kama to a 1-1 draw before playing a starring role in a 3-0 trouncing of champions AIK Sona. Kenneth Umeru has revealed that his parent club Chelsea will decide he will transfer permanently to CD Leganes at season's end. According to Umeru in an interview, he said staying back at Leganes will be determined after the season, who was voted man of the match against Celta Vigo. I can't really say much about transfer. Rather, I'm just concentrating to help my team to finish in the top 10 at the end of the season. My parent club Chelsea have the right to discuss my transfer to any other club, but for now I'm with Leganes. I'm just focused to end the season on a high with the team. Omere 25 has shown in La Liga after he has started 24 matches, and Leganes are 13th on the table with 42 points from 35 matches. Samuel Chukwueze, who has been linked with a transfer to Premier League club Liverpool, has stated that he hopes to play for one of the best clubs in the world. My dream is to play for one of the best teams in the world, he declared. I'm quite overwhelmed with all the clubs I have been linked to, but I'm not being carried away. I just want to give my best each time I'm on the field. That is my secret. Going to Spain to start with the under-19 side of Villarreal was the platform I needed to show that it was not a fluke when I was named the second best player at the 2015 Under-17 World Cup. Enugu Rangers aim to beat Enyimba in this weekend's Oriental Derby and so end the 11-game unbeaten run of the Aba club, according to winger Bryce Salas. Last week, Rangers lost their own 13-game unbeaten run at Bender Insurance in a rescheduled MPFL clash. Bryce Salas, in an interview, said, "We are ready to break the unbeaten run of Enyimba, and so we will give it our best in Aba. No doubt it's going to be very interesting and competitive, but we'll go there and fight." Our coach Benga Gubote was their former coach, so knows all their antics and their formation. Rangers are top of Group A with 31 points from 14 matches, while Enyimba are in second place with 25 points after 16 matches. Following the successful staging of one of the elite tournaments in the world, the African Table Tennis Federation, backed by the International Table Tennis Federation, has awarded the hosting right to Nigeria for the 2019 ITTF African Cup and Club Championship in August 2019. The ever-bubbling Molade Okoya Thomas All of Tessin Balogun will welcome top players from Africa for the Continental Tournament, which serves as the dress rehearsal for the 2019 African Games holding in Morocco later this year. According to the president of African Table Tennis Federation ATTF, Khalid El Sai, it was Nigeria's pedigree in staging one of the continent's colorful tournaments that prompted the ATTF Executive Council to give the West African nation the nod to stage the tournament. He expressed optimism that most players will feature in the tournament, as most of them will be using it as a tune-up to the 2019 African Games in Morocco, which serves as Tokyo 2020 Olympic qualifiers. For the president of Nigeria Table Tennis Federation, Ishaku Tikon, Nigeria is known to have staged one of the colorful table tennis tournaments in the world, adding that the hosting the continental tournament will not be an issue. For this event, each national association is expected to register 4 players made up of 2 men and 2 female, as the African Cup serves as qualifier for the ITTF World Cup for men and women. The African Club Championship starts off on July 31st to August 2nd, while the African Cup holds on August 3rd to 5th, with an average 15 countries and 70 players expected to compete in the tournament in Lagos, Nigeria. And that's it from the sporting segment of Clearview TV News. I'm Ogutimehin to Lulakwa Ogutimehin.
Jamaican juggernaut scores his first goal for a professional side. And
And just before we go, let's take a look at the stories amid headlines. Nigerian journalists have called for safety of all journalists across the nation in accordance with national legislation and international agreements as they join their counterparts to mark the 2019 International Press Freedom Day. Acting Inspector General of Police Mohammed Adamu has redeployed some police commissioners in a bid to strengthen the force's response to crisis in the country. And we also told you that one person has been reported dead as violent clashes continue to rock the Venezuelan capital, Caracas. That's the news. Just before we go, let's remind you that you can follow us on social media. You can follow us by watching us on YouTube via Clearview Television Online. Follow us on Facebook, Clearview Television Online, at Twitter, Clearview Online, and Instagram at Clearview TV_NG. You can also watch Clearview Television on Nigecomsat with any free-to-air decoder. For more details, you can contact your local installer. I am Nten Epang. Many thanks for watching.